and Perineum. And kind of going on the line of the Pacific Northwest, this is a picture of a biorefinery that's currently in construction by the company Zeachem, and this is being constructed in Boardman, Oregon, which, if you don't know where it is, it's near the Tri-Cities area, right across the river on the Oregon side. That's just kind of cool. That's happening actually in our area. This is a growing technology and field, so these eventually there will be much more of these in the Pacific Northwest area. Going on to the environmental impact, first we're going to talk about the monoculture. Okay, in terms of monoculture, there's a monoculture that exists once the biomass is being grown. So here's a picture of a switchgrass field. This is a monoculture. You can see it's not like interspersed with other plants. This is all just switchgrass, and this poses a couple of problems. First, it reduces biodiversity because other plant species can't grow, which means animal species can't find homes, so it reduces biodiversity. Then this also harms the soil, since the soil doesn't have time to recover and gain other nutrients. So that's the issue associated with monoculture. And this is just kind of biomass issues. The issue talking about this corn field over here isn't really an environmental issue, but more of a moral issue. Corn is typically using corn ethanol. However, the real issue that many people have with corn ethanol is that it's produced using a food crop, corn, and there's so many people who go hungry in the world, and instead of feeding them, we're instead using it to produce alternative fuels. So cellulosic ethanol is great in things like municipal solid waste or switchgrass, which aren't food crops, are used in the production. And this is a picture of everybody's favorite rusty crawfish. This isn't really a presentation of the rusty crawfish, but it's here to symbolize invasive species. Switchgrass, according to a couple of studies, can be an invasive species if it's able to grow outside of its confined area. So this poses an extreme threat when you consider how much switchgrass is currently being produced. So that invasive species issue is also present. And then when you look at the atmosphere, this is one of the real benefits to producing cellulosic ethanol. Here's a picture of a car, and you can see all the exhaust, all the smoke coming out of the exhaust. And this is where the greenhouse gas emissions come from. And the thing about cellulosic ethanol is, according to numerous studies, I saw a couple, that it produces, one of them said 91%, the other said 89% less greenhouse gas emissions than compared to gasoline. So it's a huge reduction in emissions, which is better for the environment, especially with the talk of climate change. Talking about economic issues, we're first going to talk about enzymes and kind of how it's an economic issue in terms of the production of cellulosic ethanol. The problem with enzymes is they're very expensive. Right now it costs $2 just for the enzymes per gallon of cellulosic ethanol to be produced. Even though that may not sound like that much, you consider the price of gasoline, and then you also consider how many other things go into production. It results in the enzymes being very expensive. However, the good thing about this is a couple of years ago they were $5 per gallon. Before that they were $10 per gallon. So we're making progress in the right way. That's due in part to funding from the federal government. Here's a picture of President Bush at Novozymes, and he visited Novozymes following a grant of money to Novozymes by the Department of Energy. So if we can continue that, we can continue to lower the prices and get a more reasonable price so that cellulosic ethanol can be produced efficiently, as well as and it can be available for more consumers. Also, in terms of jobs, cellulosic ethanol is great because it really produces new jobs that aren't really in existence right now. Here's a picture of a general environmental engineer However, more people, more environmental engineers, as well as technicians and people working to transport the biomass, cellulosic ethanol production will kind of create all these new jobs. Going off on that, the biorefinery that I mentioned earlier, that's being constructed by Zia Chem in Boardman, Oregon, will create 300 new jobs, which is great, especially with the economy the way it is. It's also, cellulosic ethanol is much more efficient than, say, gasoline. Here's a graph regarding, as I was talking before, the greenhouse gas emissions. This is the one that said 91% less emissions than gasoline. And it's not only kind of this, efficiency for greenhouse gas emissions, but also it's much more efficient to produce it. In terms of the energy output compared to the energy input, cellulosic ethanol is the most efficient, which means once we're able to get these enzyme prices down, the prices will be cheaper than both gasoline and other alternative fuels such as biodiesel, corn ethanol, and some of the other popular ones. Thanks for listening today.